Alright, so we've gone over pretty much all of the sounds that you're likely to hear in Japanese, so it's now time to start learning how to make words, or how to read the sounds when they're combined together. We started to go over that a little bit in the last two lessons, but now we're going to go over it in the general case. So, basically the first thing to know is that whenever you read the sounds in Japanese, they go in a combination, but they don't modify each other than the possible exceptions that we mentioned in the last two lessons. For example, probably everyone knows this word, right? And I've heard this pronounced by English speakers as like saki. It's not saki. You should already know ke sounds like ke, right? From the very first lesson, e sounds like e, so this is sake, right? So this is actually, if you divide it into the Japanese sounds, it's actually only two, even though it's 4 letters in English, right? So writing this in Japanese, I'm just going to draw them as boxes for now, but this would be 2 different characters, right? So it's not 4 letters, it's 2 characters. So even though Japanese characters, there's more of them in existence because there's around 50 or so, right? But it takes fewer of them to spell out a word. And the sounds are more intuitive, so to speak, because you don't have to worry about, oh, is this a silent E, is this a long E, is this a short E, do the vowels combine? That doesn't happen. You simply combine the sounds together in order by concatenating them. So another example of maybe a word you don't know, right? So how do you think this would be pronounced, right? If you read it in English, it would be pronounced made, but this is not English. So again, whenever you want to figure out the pronunciation of a word that you know is Japanese, you can just divide it into its units, right? This is the only way this word can possibly divide up. So guess what? It's just MA plus DE. So if you look up the sounds, it's made. It's not made, it's made. So, give you another example, right? And by the way, these are all real Japanese words. They're nouns, verbs, whatever. But, so, I've asked some people to try and guess what this sounds like. They call it namu or something. No. Again, it breaks into 2 syllables, no plus mu. So this is no plus mu. So it's nomu. Okay, another one. Ma plus ke, right? So this is ma, this is ke. So you should be able to guess that even when you put them together, it doesn't matter. It turns into ma ke, right? So the thing to get out of this is that even when the syllables are added together, they don't affect the pronunciation of the neighboring syllable. You can pretty much guess the pronunciation of any word just by knowing the pronunciation of each and every separate syllable, right? So that actually makes things much easier than in English. Even if you only see half a word, you know what it sounds like pretty much automatically, right? So I'll give one more 2-syllable example, right? Iku. Well, again, you can divide this up, and it's E plus ku. So it's pretty kind of obvious that the sound of this should be iku. So in the next video, we're going to go over some longer words and a little bit more description of what is this system we've been using so far.